I've got another video for your ears and your eyes and your thighs. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Just Nuts here. We got a new video. I'm talking about Rising Rampage. We got, I guess, the full spoiler list for the entire set, which is pretty cool. Just going to be going through it pretty quick. I don't want to talk about every card, but I want to talk about the big stuff that I think matters out of this set and just giving you my overall thoughts for the set as a whole. And I don't want to waste too much time because I literally did this 2 times already. I got through it and I decided the video was way too long, so I'm like re-recording it again, trying to do it right, a little more organized. Not a little more organized, but because like as you can tell, I didn't even like load everything back up. But we're here, we're looking. All right, cool. Let's get into it. Cards. Cap Shell, really cool card. If it's tributed or used as material for Fusion Sync or a Link Summon, you draw a card for either of those. And then also if it's you detached as an XYZ material, draw a card. Only do the one of those once per turn. It is a secret rare, which is interesting because I feel like it's a little underpowered, but this set as a whole is a little underpowered, so not too surprising. We do get the introduction of Marincess in here. I don't think it'll be ready to be a deck by itself, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it splashed into Mermails or Paleo Frogs right out the gate, just because it is still like a really resource efficient archetype. Cyberse Water, really cool, with a bunch of Link monsters. So Seahorse is the only good one. Sea Star stinks. A couple Dino Wrestler cards. Fortune Lady support is in here as well. Not amazing, but it definitely makes Fortune Ladies better. And if you're trying to play them on a very rogue or just like casual level, this will definitely be a little more competitive for you, which is cool. Yosenju stuff, we have like 5 or 6 new Yosenju cards, pretty cool. 2 monsters for the main deck, nice little additions, while also getting a new Pendulum Monster as well, which is really cool as well. And we'll keep moving along here. We do get the Tenyis as a new archetype as well here. This is a worm, I guess like what? I guess they're the link-based archetype, but they have some very interesting effects where they have 2 effects. One, for their first effect from hand says that they can all special summon them from hand if you control no effect monsters, and then they also have an effect where you can banish them from your hand or graveyard to do something else. Like one of them adds a banished Tenyi back to your hand, so if you already used one, get it back. One of them like does something in the battle phase to like lower your opponent's attacking monster by 1500. One of them just says to, like, target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So like some pretty nice utility in there, as well as being able to spam the board, which I really like. So I'm really personally looking forward to Tenyis specifically. We'll keep moving here. We also get the introduction of a new archetype in Simorg, the birds. They're kind of like Thunder Dragons in that they're based off of a classic card, Dark Simorg, or a couple cards, the Simorg cards. And they're making a full archetype out of it. They're not very good, I don't think. All their main deck monsters have like effects that say like if your opponent controls no spell or trap cards, they can special summon themselves back from the graveyard, so banish them when they leave the field. Which is nice, like value out of them, just getting like 2-for-1s in terms of like link materials or whatever for them, which is pretty solid. But I feel like overall they're just like super underpowered. But they're cool. I love their designs, and I think a lot of casual players will be interested in them. It's really cool. Another BES monster. Oh well. Vic Viper T301, a pretty interesting light machine support card. So ABCs and I guess Cyber Dragons are like the 2 big culprits here that could be abused. It's just like if a battle's declared, including 2 monsters, 1 on each side, you can just special summon him from your hand, and then while he's on the field, all other light machine monsters gain 1200 attack. So you're making your Cyber Dragon 3300. You're making your ABCs, like some of them cracking 3,000, some of them getting close to 3,000. Really big, putting a lot of damage on board all at once. But definitely an interesting card to keep an eye on. Reptilian, and 1 new Reptilian card is pretty interesting. The Last Familiar Possessed card. A new Cyberse Boss monster, really cool. Wipes the whole board if you can get it out, but tough summoning conditions. New Witchcrafter monster. It is a secret rare, so this does not help with the expensiveness that Witchcrafters are already suffering from. But it's pretty spicy. It's actually solid in like any spellcaster deck, but cool card. Really interesting card is Gizmek Orochi, the Serpentron Sky Slasher. It's essentially what people call it the second coming of Fairy Tale Snow. It has a quick effect where you can banish the top 8 cards of your deck to just special summon it from your hand or graveyard, and then on your turn you can banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down to just target a face-up monster on the field and destroy it. So it's got a removal effect. It's a 2450 beater that you can just spam out whenever you want as a quick effect, so that can interrupt your opponent in the battle phase from dealing you hefty damage. And yeah, just really, really strong card. I like him a lot. Some other generic cards, blah blah, not great. Beat Raptor, really interesting stun card here when, because when he's on the field, he negates the effects of all monsters in the extra monster zones. Where if you think about like the main decks that'll probably be there, really good against Sally's, really good against Orcus, Striker, and I would say it's probably the weakest against Thunder Dragon, because like it only really is a problem for like Saryuja, but everything else like not the biggest deal. Beat Raptor is so. But the other matchups are really, really good, and also if he's destroyed by battle, you can special summon another copy of himself to the field, so he stays up. Really, really nice. So definitely keep an eye on that card. Spirit Sculptor, letting you search generic monsters from your deck, pretty good. Fortune Lady Synchro, cool card. Borlord X Charge, the cover card here, just special summoning Borals back from grave, pretty cool. You have your Marine Cess Link monsters, your 1, 2, and 3. Keep an eye on Coral Anemone the most here, because it is completely generic and insanely good in almost any water deck. So Paleo Frogs and Mermails, sorry. Those two specifically, keep an eye on those, this being abused in those immediately. And then we get the Tenny Links. The Monk and the Berserker are normal monsters, but the Shaman has an effect that lets you like special summon a worm from grave, and also like pop a card later. So really cool, really nice, just utility that where they easily could have just made this another normal monster, and you wish it had been like, oh, so like what do? Like you just make normal monsters and support them? She actually does stuff, which is pretty cool. We get a new Charmer monster, the Win. Really cool to see. I mean, obviously, I don't think it'll be doing anything right out the gate, but kind of just like Hita, all it took was one deck. Like if Salamangreat wasn't actually a deck, then Hita would not really see much play. So same thing, all it takes is one deck in tier 1 to really make Win like a super playable card. So just keep an eye on it. If you would, like, you should probably just pick 1 or 2 up just cuz, and then hold on to it. Link Mail Archfiend, an interesting new Link 4. It needs material as a Ritual Fusion Synchro or Xyz. At least one of them need to be that. And then it has a protection effect, a float effect, and it like lowers all your opponent's monsters' attacks the turn it's summoned, based on what you use to link into it. Appaloosa, probably the most sought after card in the whole set. This is a generic Link 4 that just gives you multiple monster negates, and do I need to say anything else? Cool. A couple other Link monsters, not too crazy. Keep going. We have 2 new Salamangreat cards. I don't think either of them are specifically insanely good. But, you never know. Salamangreats, especially with Gazelle and Circle getting hit, these could be even more viable. Your Fortune Lady spell cards, one is like a Tenki and one just special one like from deck, which is pretty cool. Your Senju quick play card, cool. For Tenyis, we have a field spell that lets you draw 2 cards if your opponent special summons an effect monster, which is kind of wild. And then a spell card that lets you Foolish any worm monster from deck to grave. Keep that in mind. This is just like 3, and if any other worm archetype comes out, this is just a Foolish Burial for any worm monster, which is kind of wild. And then also, if you controlled a face-up non-effect monster when you activate it, you can also add a Tenny monster from deck to hand. So this is a Foolish and a Rhoda in one. This card is insane. If Tenyis are good, this card would be like the hit for consistency. They go after this card for sure. For some more, we got 3 spells. A field spell, I think, right? There's a field spell. Yeah, field spell, and then 2 spells as well. Keep going. We got battle phase cards, bad draw cards, I mean. Marine Cess Wave, this is a trap card for Marine Cess. It's really interesting. It's like infinite impermanence, but I think it blanket negates the effects of all face-up monsters you... oh, no, hold on. No, it targets one face-up monster your opponent controls and negates its effects till the end of turn. So it's literally like impermanence. But if you control a Marine Cess Link 3 monster or higher, you can just activate it from your hand. So being a hand trap, just dodges some things, dodges back row removal, stuff like that, which is really, really nice. Current is terrible. Don't worry about Current. Got a trap card for Fortune Ladies. We have a trap card for Yosenjus. We have a counter trap, an Omni Negate for Tenyis. Pretty cool card. trap card for Simorgs. We have an interesting World Legacy card, trap card, where it has 2 effects. You just activate one or the other when you activate it. One is just sending a link monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. That's non-targeting, non-destruction removal. The other one's a little worse. It's a little tough to get off, and I don't know if it's worth. You banish 7 World Legacy cards from grave to add a Cyberus monster from deck to hand. I mean, any Cyberus monster is a pretty good search, but the amount of like setup in the graveyard you need for that is pretty high. So, but still, just sending a link monster is so solid, I feel like, especially if this is like super searchable in that archetype. Pretty cool. Definitely a card to keep your eye on is Get Out. It targets 2 monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extra deck and just shuffles them back into the deck. This is just like an insanely powerful 2 for 1. It targets, yes, but it just shuffles 2 monsters, which is so strong in my opinion. Definitely keep an eye on this card, especially for more stunish decks or decks that like going first. They just side this in. Could be a very popular side deck card. When you know you're going first against a deck that spams the board a little bit, you just drop this on them and you probably win if you do. We keep going here. None of these cards are like super good. Nope. I'm not worried about any of those. Got some new link monsters. I'm not worried about this guy. He's not very good, but this card, Desperate Doom Eagle, very interesting. A big winged beast wind monster. It takes wind monster specifically for material, but it gains 2400 attack if your opponent has no monsters in grave, and it also has a quick effect where once per turn just target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and shuffle it back into the deck. That by itself could make this card worth it. You're just a 2400 beater with a quick effect to like called by the grave your opponent. That's actually pretty strong. I mean, you think about disrupting Orcus by banishing their Harp Horror mid-combo, or their Orcus, the one they special off of Mermaid all the time. I can never remember. Orchestrated Nightmare? Yeah, I think. Or against Sally's, hitting the Spinny, and then they just can't extend anymore. Or hitting the Ray out of their grave, so that strikers don't have that recursion if you out there link monsters, like stuff like that. He's just, I feel like, just a really good card. Definitely keep an eye on this guy. I'm pretty interested to pick him up, also because I'm building like harpies and stuff. So cool. We'll keep moving here. We have a new archetype in the Dream Mirror archetype, where they have, I guess they're 2 sides of the same coin. You have a dark and a light side. You have 2 sprites, both level 1, but one dark, one light. Same thing for these 2, but they're big, 2 level 8s. They're a fairy archetype as well, looks like, or fairy. These are fairies. Yeah, these are fairies. These are warriors. So I guess they don't have a designated type just yet. They have 2 field spells, one of which is like the light world, and one of which is the dark world, and then a trap card. They're not very good. I will tell you that right now. They definitely need a lot of development, but if they sound interesting, definitely give them a look and see, because we never know when they'll get support. Yosenju, another searcher card, searching any of the big Yosenju monsters. Pretty cool. And then we got some generic rank monsters. We have Mannequin Cat as well as Kikinagashi Fucho. This card just literally like lets you live any one turn. It's pretty cool. White Aura Monoceros, White Howling, FA Shining Star GT. FAs finally get their link monster. Pretty nice card, just negates monster effects, I believe. It's pretty nice if you can get through a combo to put this up with like Dawn Dragster. You've just got a monster negate and a spell and trap negate, which is pretty good. And then you also have Dragunity Knight Romulus, a huge card, especially with like Guard Dragon plays still being a thing. This guy could be a legitimate card to help abuse that. And then an Endymion card that's terrible. You will never play this in Endymions. But let's take a look real quick as far as the rarities go. We've got Capshell, Witchcrafter, Golem Maruru, Gizmek, Orochi, Fortunately Every the Synchro, the Link 2 and Link 3 for Marine Cess, the Trap card, Get Out, and Appaloosa, that Link 4 that negates monster effects bunch of times. You got your ultra rares: Marine Cess Seahorse, Spirit Sculptor, Boral X Charged Dragon, Marine Cess Blue Slug, Shaman of the Tenyi, Fortune Lady Calling, Marine Cess Wave, 2 of the Dream Mirror cards, and then Dragunity Knight Romulus. Supers, you got the Mayo Senju, the Big Yosenju, Pendulum Monster, the 2 Simorgs boss monsters, the BES card, the new Cybers boss monster, the Link Male Archfiend, the Link 4, Hypernova Blast, the 2 other Dream Mirror cards, while also getting the 2 Dream Mirror field spells, the White Aura Monoceros, and White Howling as well. And then for the rares, you got like all the Tenyi monsters: Fortune Lady Past, another Simorg monster, Vic Viper T301, This guy, can't even say his name, no way. Monk of the Tenyi, Berserker of the Tenyi, Wind the Wind Charmer, Rising Fire, the Salaman Great Card, Fortune Vision, Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, Vessel for the Dragon Cycle, Fortune Lady Rewind, Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi, the Desperate Doom Eagle, that cool Wind Link monster, and Star Power. As overall, this deck is not great. Or I'm not this deck. This set is not great. I feel like there are a couple cards for the meta here. You're looking at like the Gizmek Orochi, you're talking at Appaloosa, Get Out. But outside of those three, as far as like generic cards, there's like no generic cards. There are a couple archetypes that are just like Marine Cess will be a thing in a couple months. Tenyis could be a thing in a couple months. Romulus is a nice support card for Dragon decks. But like outside of these specific ones, like I just don't see this set being like too crazy. Like I don't think Tenyis get it done yet. I don't think Marine Cess get it done yet. So I don't know, man. Also, Marine Cess are very high rarity in this set. If you didn't notice, we have the Link 2 and Link 3 as secret rares. We have Seahorse, Blue Slug, and Wave as ultra rares. And I think they have a super rare too, if I remember correctly. No, they don't, but they have rares. Yeah. All right. Guys, let me know what you think, because I think this is a pretty mediocre set. I mean, there's definitely, in every set. Literally, I don't think there will ever be a set where I'm not interested in picking up something. There's a couple things I want here, but overall, it just feels so underwhelming. I feel like Chaos Impact, I feel like so many people are literally just like, let's just get this over with so we can just get closer to Chaos Impact, because that's what's going to be lit. But I guess we'll see as we go. I mean, we'll get there when we get there, but let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know how good of a set you think this is, or what specifically you're looking to pick up here, because just because it's not a great set overall doesn't mean there's not something to be excited about. But guys, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.